Joining us now is a security consultant, Tony Ofoyetan, to look at this issue that has been trending for the past almost 11 days now. Tony, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, let me ask you, we have been on this issue. Even I remember the last time it happened in that school, we discussed this issue. But now, about 11 days after this kidnap of students, are you surprised or shocked that the children have not been rescued?
No, I'm not. I'm not. In short, at times, it's like we're beginning to sound very monotonous because we see ourselves repeating the same thing every now and then. I don't know what is really wrong with our policy makers and governments in this country. You know, I keep asking this question rhetorically. What value, what premium do government place on the life of the average Nigerian? Because you will see this play out in different cases. In the Boko Haram case, in the Fulani herdsmen case, in kidnapping cases, even ritual killing, armed robbery and the like. You will see that within less than 24 hours, a member of the National Assembly was kidnapped, is being released. Then you have children who we are purportedly told are the future leaders being kidnapped, and 11 days after, and it's a reoccurrence. I'm not surprised. A similar thing occurred in the Turkish International School. And if you look at what the territorial topography of these schools are relatively similar because they are built in the outskirts of the city, surrounded by bush. And if you look at the environment, it's as good as saying that it's isolated. Now, insecurity...
Tony, you're making a lot of points at the same time. Let's try and take them one after the other. You alluded to that of the House of Reps member who was abducted and released how many days after?
About 24 hours or thereabouts. 24
hours. And don't forget that of Godwin Emefiele's wife that also happened last year, who was released almost a few days later. So what's the difference really when you have people who are highly placed, abducted and released on time, and children who are helpless being held captive for a long time? You had the deputy governor there saying that the government will not relent, but also will not negotiate.
There are two approaches to it. If a principal staff of government, let me put it like that, or a close family relative is abducted, now the implication is that you want to quickly settle the whole thing financially and get this thing off because it may become more embarrassing to the government. But when it comes to the average Nigerian, you want to bring in the doctrine of professionalism to application, to bear. And I don't think that that is fair enough. I think what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. In other words, life is just equal. It's the same, whether of a child or of an adult. We are looking at a situation where the government will be... when this thing happened the first time, we talked about crime prevention through environmental design, which is a major doctrine when it comes to structural erection. You consider security. Now, where that school was built, what we expect is this: the application of technology. If you have to put up a structure like that there. Now, if you look at it, they came in through the perimeter walls. The perimeter walls are not concrete. Don't forget that this is a waterlogged area where over time, the perimeter wall without any effort become very weak. Extremely weak to the extent that a punch can put up a hole, not to talk of a little sledgehammer, will put up a hole without even making any noise because of the waterlogged nature of that area. Now there's no CCTV, for goodness sake, to cover anywhere. There's no burglar alarm. Now you are talking of contemporary society where we talk about fiber fencing. In fiber fencing, what happened is that it triggers at the level of any form of intrusion, either burglary, either trying to climb it or trying to break it. It will trigger on its own. Now the issue is this: it's not, one thing about security you must understand is this: there's the internal challenge, which is more difficult than the external one. It's just like you will say that the enemy in your house is more dangerous than the enemy at home. From all I have seen so far, I think it is imperative for the government to look inward. Who are those that are compromised among the security agencies? Now, it's very jamil. You can't rule it out. If it happened the first time, and the government deployed military personnel to the same location, and it happened again, then before you talk of anything, the government should, I expect that by now, all those that are in security or responsible for security in that place should be interrogated. I expect that that should be done, but it's not enough to also say that we are not going to pay ransom. No.
All right, let's get into the issue of ransom. These boys, about 3 of them were arrested in Edo State, and they happen to all come from the same local government, or via Southwest local government in Edo State, 24, 25 years. But let's keep that aside. The issue of ransom, they're demanding for about 100 million right now. Government is saying they're not ready to negotiate. The parents of the children, some of them are pensioners. There's one of them a fisherman. So what is the fate of this now? When government is not ready to come in to say we're paying anything?
They are not targeting the parents of the wards. That's not their target. Their target is Lagos State government. They know very well that this is a Lagos State government school. And they know also that it becomes a blackmailing point for the governor. So the governor wants to do everything possible to assure the average Lagosian that we are on top of the security. So it's a blackmailing type of a kidnapping, which is also born out of greed, 100% greed, you know, with the connivance of internal forces, because it succeeded the first time, and it also succeeded now.
But they never came out to say, even the first time that those students were abducted, that they paid ransom.
No,
the government will never come out to say that.
In most cases, the government will not come out to tell you that we pay X and Z ransom. They will not come out. Even American government, if they pay ransom, they will not come out to tell you they pay ransom. But what happened in most cases is that when they pay ransom, they make sure that you don't live to spend that ransom. That is one lesson I think that the average kidnapper should learn. Look at precedents, antecedents, and ask yourself a simple question. Those that have gone through this route, how many of them are alive? It's not enough to say that we want 100 million naira. If they give you that 100 million naira, that 100 million naira is like a bait. It's going to be in the mouth, or in the, you know, it's going to be like a worm, you know, covering a hook. At the end of the day, you will be caught. And once you are caught, in most cases, let me tell you the truth, there is no issue of court. Because as far as they are concerned, you are a threat to humanity. And I'm sure the security agencies, they know how to deal with all those type of situations. So if they are reasonable and sensible enough, I expect that quietly, they'll just release those boys and just allow the whole thing to. Once that is done, you see, you would have cut off the issue of bait. But if you are waiting that money should be paid to you, money will be paid to you eventually, but you will not have the life to spend that money.
That's on the ideal basis. But in the situation where it is likely that there could be some insider, like you were talking about forces, because the point there is that everyone knows that the children of most of those attending that school are either middle class or even low class. So where will they get the money from?
No, like I said, it's not the parents. Yeah. They are not targeting the parents. Anybody targeting parents for such school, it's not a highbrow school. It's just like you rightly said, middle class parents that want the best for their children but cannot afford to go to the big time international war schools and all those stuff like that. So, but like I said, it's basically targeted at Lagos State government. And the good thing about Lagos State is that so far so well, Lagos State government has been able to deal with the issue of kidnapping most successfully compared to other states. Yes, statistically, we've seen that it's Lagos State that had record of apprehension of kidnappers in this country. And they've been able to successfully deal with it. But I think that Lagos State should step up beyond the issue of the manual approach. Because manually now, and that is why it's now becoming more and more difficult. You are policing a state of about 20 million people. And we are in e-world. We expect that by now
maybe the kidnappers are also getting more sophisticated.
They are getting more sophisticated. But once the government is able to apply technology, it will reduce. Look at what happened in UK. Look at the response time. Exactly. It was 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
And within 8 minutes, look, I am not sure of such record in this country. And we are looking at a situation like that, where Lagos State has the resources to be able to bring in technology to bear.
And we expect them to deploy all the helicopters they bought.
That's it. Now, that's what we're talking about, response time. At the level of engagement, once you have a good response team, look, the helicopter there is meant to do an area support. In other words, wherever they run to, once you have that helicopter, it has a shelling capacity. Don't forget that. Now, it also means that it has the capacity to be able to trail them to a very good level where they will also communicate. They have a backup team at that point in time. Now,
and that will save you a lot of time going into this investigation if they had responded on time.
You see, once the government is able to decisively deal with this situation, I think we will then be having a lesser case of kidnapping. Don't forget that kidnapping is more lucrative than armed robbery.
That's true.
All
right. Tony Ofoyetan, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we don't have all the time now to dwell on that, but we keep following up until the children are rescued. Thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you.